How's it going, guys? My name's
Jack's back at Macca.
Hey, so you know how Tsubasa from Tokyo Mirage Sessions got in a Smash as a spirit? I mean, despite the fact that it's Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I think that's actually pretty cool that MegaTen got some kind of representation in Smash. Even if it is just a crossover game that's not really a crossover game. But it got me wondering, given how you unlock spirits in Spirits mode, how exactly would other MegaTen characters be represented? How would their battles go? Who would represent them as a fighter? What would their stage even be? So I decided I wanted to make a video where I just pitch ideas to you on how certain characters would be represented from the franchise. Do know, however, I only know of so many possible conditions. I haven't seen any of the leaks, so I don't know a lot of details beyond what they've shown officially. I've been trying to avoid the leaks because, I'd rather experience the game in the state that was intended by Sakurai and not on some form online or in a video or whatever. So everything I came up with was within the realm of what they've shown. I'm also going to try and recreate these matchups as best I can in the past games, but if I don't have a way of capturing such a matchup, then well, this video is already about getting creative, so I guess that'll continue.
So first up is the most iconic character in the entirety of Atlus's repertoire, Jack Frost. But it isn't just him, but his brothers Pyro Jack and Jack the Ripper as well. That's right, it's Jack Bros! My immediate thought when trying to recreate this trio was Ice Climbers, as they represent Jack Frost's ice element perfectly, while also being a duo, much like Frost and Pyro are a duo in Synchronicity Prologue. Their color scheme would be their default blue and pink, as the blue would be Frost and pink would be Pyro. The stage would be four-side, cause, Tokyo. However, while we have Jack Frost and Pyro Jack represented, what about Jack the Ripper? Well, I had some trouble coming up with a way that would properly represent him, but I did come up with something. One condition would be that they start with killing Edge. This way, Jack the Ripper is represented via a bladed weapon. The second condition would be the Ice Climber's attacks had a chance of catching you on fire. This way, Pyro Jack's fire element is represented as well. Next up is the protagonist from SMT1, who I will be referring to as the Hero! First off, the fighter the hero would be puppeteering would be Ness, as both are silent protagonists from SNES games who started their adventure off as an ordinary kid or teenager in the hero's case, living in their modern-day hometown. As the games go on, however, monsters start appearing everywhere, and they are then thrust into action, eventually becoming the chosen ones who could save their world. The stage would be Prism Tower, as it's a giant building that stands in the middle of Kalos, much like the Basilica from the end of SMT1, which is a giant tower that stands in the middle of the flooded Tokyo. I only have one condition for this fight, however. As the battle goes on, Pokeballs drop into the world and can be used to summon various different Pokemon. Considering SMT is basically proto-Pokemon, I feel like using Pokemon to represent demons is a pretty good fit. Next up, Steven! Steven would be represented by Dr. Mario under the same logic that Otacon is represented by the Good Doctor. While they're different types of doctors, they're still doctors all the same. Just so happens the fighter is a medical doctor and not a scientific one. As for the stage, it would be the Great Cave Offensive. As much as I fucking despise this stage for its maze-like structure, I actually think that's why it makes the perfect fit for the Diamond Realm, which Steven is located in the SMT4 Apocalypse DLC, Messiahs in the Diamond Realm. Not to mention, the gems down the corner help add to the theming. Steven's conditions are probably the most creative I got for this video. First off, Dr. Mario can't move. Get it? 'Cause Steven's a cripple. He himself doesn't actually do any fighting, instead having Ice Climbers and Palutena fight for him, who represent Zenki, Goki, and En no Ozuno respectively. Finally, while Steven doesn't fight himself, assist trophies drop on his location every once in a while, allowing him to summon a character to fight for him, much like he summons the protagonist of the series in the Diamond Realm DLC. Honestly, Steven is definitely the most fun I had coming up with these spirit battle ideas. Next, Thor! His fighter is Pikachu, 'cause fucking thunder. His stage is Shadow Moses Island. Cause fucking nukes. His conditions are that he spams X-bombs, smart bombs, motion sensor bombs, blast boxes, bombers, the Hokatate bomb, bomb chews, gooey bombs, and bombs. Cause fucking bombs. If you don't get it, go play SMT1. Now for the protagonist of Strange Journey, who I'm gonna call Lucky Ted! Out of the fact that I named him that in my copy of Redux, and I ended up with a boosted luck stat when I started. Snake would be representing Lucky Ted, as both are soldiers from the United States who were drafted into a world-threatening situation, one involving nukes and one involving an impending apocalypse by demons. His stage would be the Garden of Hope, which would represent the garden maze that is Sector Eridanus. I almost picked the Great Cave Offensive again for the same reason I picked it the first time, but I decided to avoid as many repeats as I could. Lucky Ted is a unique protagonist in the series as the majority of his moves come from the guns he can equip. Because of this, every type of gun weapon in Smash Ultimate would spawn throughout the match. Daybreak Parts, the Ray Gun, Steel Diver, the Drill, the Staff, the Rage Blaster, Bullet Bill, and even the Super Scope. All guns of some type that control differently from each other that would give Lucky Ted a more unique fighting style. Next up is Flynn, the protagonist of SMT4. For his fighter, I actually couldn't decide on either Robin or Kirby. Robin, much like Flynn, is able to use both a sword and various types of magic. Kirby, however, can copy enemy abilities, much like how Flynn can use Demon Whisper to gain the abilities of his demons. Since I can't make a decision here, you pick. However, in either case, they would use their blue color variant as it would match Flynn's samurai uniform. The fight would happen on Castle Siege. Castle Siege is a unique stage as you can actually see how each different section relates to each other via the downward transition. You start off on top of a medieval castle, which eventually transitions underground, much like the kingdom of Makoto in Tokyo. There's even a mid-section that could work as Naraku. Actually, now that I think about it, you could also use Temple or Peach's Castle in the beginning before having the stage morph into one of the city stages, such as New Donk City. Man, I just can't decide what would best represent Flynn. The one thing I can decide on, however, is the condition. Ultimate adds a new item called Black Holes. These things would spawn throughout the match and could be used by you or Flynn. Anyone who's played SMT4 can figure out why I would pick Black Holes for this fight, as it represents the Yamato reactor, a machine that can be used to create a black hole. And now we move on from SMT, and on to Persona 5. Joker! Was actually kinda difficult to represent with a fighter at first, but I eventually came to the conclusion that Shulk would be a good fit for him. Not because the characters are similar, but because Shulk's final smash is a lot like an all-out attack. While Snake could also represent Joker since both have a stealth focus, I picked Shulk as Shulk would better represent the main gameplay of Persona 5 and not an honestly tacked on gimmick. Joker's stage would be Tomodachi Life, as both Tomodachi Life and Persona 5 are simulators. While the latter isn't as much of a simulator as the former, it still works. And finally, the condition would be that the final smash meter fills more quickly. My reasoning is the fact that all-out attacks are piss easy to get, especially in Persona 5, so Shulk should be allowed to use his final smash just as much. And lastly, we have Persona 5's own Makoto Nijima. Initially, I thought about Little Mac, as Makoto is all about punching, but I ultimately decided on Bayonetta to represent Makoto, as not only does Bayonetta punch enemies and use guns, but her ability to summon Madame Butterfly reminds me of the Persona system. Makoto's stage would without a doubt be Newport City, not because it represents her specifically, but rather it represents Kaneshiro, the Yakuza leader who tries to force Makoto into paying a debt she can't pay. Newport City would stand in for Kaneshiro's palace, as both are places of immense wealth ran by rich, powerful, and fat assholes who only see people as objects. In Porky's case, he sees them as things he can do with as he pleases, while Kaneshiro sees people as literal ATMs. Finally, her condition would be that the Dragoon parts spawn throughout the match. Why the Dragoon? Because the legendary air machine is ridden to attack, much like how Makoto rides Johanna. I worked real hard to come up with that one. Definitely save the best for last.
And those were the MegaTen spirits that I could come up with. It's not all of them, but I could only come up with so much. I really wish I could have done more than just SMT, Persona, and Jack Bros. But I could only get so creative with what knowledge I currently have. I actually even cut a couple of spirit ideas just because I didn't think I thought them through all that well. Maybe if I come up with some more spirit ideas and once I become more aware of what conditions are possible in the game, then I'll come back and I'll do a second one. Hell, I might even do a different franchise. I'm sure I could come up with something for JoJo. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a like, comment, tell me what you thought. If you want to see more, subscribe and hit the bell so you'll see the next thing I come out with. I usually do one bigger video a month alongside live streams and some smaller stuff, some shit posts or just reactions, whatever I can come up with. Sorry this video was late. This video was supposed to come out in November, but in the last few days of November, it was so crazy with work, and when I was looking at the product I had, I wasn't satisfied with it. So I gave myself an extra week to, you know, cook it a little bit more. On the topic of live streams, I've got 2 live streams to announce, and they happen basically back to back. The first one's gonna be on Thursday, December 6th at 8:15 p.m. EST. This is gonna be me and my friends reacting to the Game Awards. The Game Awards is a shit show, but in terms of being like a mini E3 with the announcements and stuff, you know, I think it's getting better each year. And also, I really hope we have another fuck the Oscars moment. That was the fucking best last year. Joseph Fair his name's Fair, right? In either case, he is awesome. He's great. I love him. And he's coming back. Jeff Keighley said so. And then for the second half, the part 2, that's gonna happen after midnight once Smash Bros. Ultimate comes out and we come back from our midnight release at the local GameStop or wherever the hell we're going. And we're just gonna go, we're gonna come back here, we're gonna hook it up, and we're just gonna stream Smash Ultimate. We're gonna play around, we're gonna have some fun. If you can't get the game at midnight, tune in, it'll be fun. Join us. I don't know how to end this. But anyway, this has been Jack's Back of Macca. I am Macca, and I'll see you guys next time for whatever the hell I do next.